Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever in the fuck in the cosmos you may be. I'm Rocken Larry Locken with Pleiadian Late Night Talk on Pleiadian Express Productions with my co-host Ravishing Raquel Toombs from Vancouver, British Columbia. Tonight on the show we have joining us a fellow admin of ours in the Pleiadians Mothership Group, Leah Alien Tribe, Leah Shapiro's Mothership Group, the Pleiadians, Victoria Pleiadian, and I also want to mention real quick, Victoria is also the head admin for our regional group, Pleiadians UK. So, Raquel, welcome. How are you?
I'm freaking fantastic. Thank you. How are you?
I'm trippendicular. Victoria Pleiadian in the UK, somewhere on the outskirts of London. How are you tonight, sweetie?
Much.
Victoria. Ladies and gentlemen, Victoria is around, but I think she's messing with her computer right now.
She had to mute for a sec, so let's give her a chance to unmute.
Oh yes, sorry,
Unmute, Victoria. Maybe the Queen doesn't approve of unmuting. I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe she didn't get her crumpet supply, her enema of crumpets. Yes. Victoria. Victoria sounds like she's on Close Encounters of the Third Kind playing with some gadget.
Oh no, that's me and my camera. Sorry.
Oh, Victoria, there's a button called unmute. It's got a microphone. Hit that.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Hi,
Hello.
Victoria! Yay!
Yes, I kept pressing it. It wasn't, yes. Well, hello everyone. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you.
Yes, we are. We're delighted to have you all the way from the UK. Well, all the way from wherever. We're all in different places. But Victoria, how are you?
I'm absolutely fantastic. I mean, I feel, I'm just really happy to be here. I'm really grateful, and it's just lovely to be surrounded, and obviously for our listeners as well, I'm just very happy to be here, and also with you, Larry, and also Raquel. Just really happy.
Yay! Happy, happy, joy, joy.
Yay!
Oh, okay. Yes. Now that we got all the mutual Pleiadian bullshit out of the way. So Victoria, this is really, I've been wanting to talk to you on air for a long time because, we've talked a lot about your story between me and you and, in private groups. But I would really like for everybody to just know kind of what makes Victoria tick. Besides the fact that you're an admin in these groups and all that, why don't you tell us a little bit about how your awakening started and through your life, and I'd also like you to throw in there how you started contacting the Pleiadians, and let's just go from there.
Sure. Absolutely. I think from a very, very long time, I've always had a sort of a deep knowing that I have a connection to the stars, and I think always having that knowledge, even before the Pleiadians actually contacted me, it was just something that was very, something I just couldn't just, switch off from. So obviously throughout my life, I realized, well, something is going on. There were lots of unusual things happening at the time, and I wanted to delve a bit deeper, to see what's happening, what's going on, and the things that made me tick really was really connecting to the stars for a long time, majority of my life, and also knowing that I was very different from the rest of my family members in my family, and I think just always unusual things like lights would go off and turn off and on, and obviously light orbs. And then there was this time when obviously my awakening and everything, and that all came together. By the way, I didn't have my awakening until I was about 6/7 years old. So really, my awakening happened a long time ago. And, I spoke to fellow admins and I spoke to various people, and obviously their awakenings happened a lot later in their life, like 2011, 2012 and onwards, or maybe even before that. And I just felt like, well, okay, well, mine came at a very young age, and I accept that. But one of the main things that I did have with my awakening is I was contacted by actually the Pleiadians, although technically they didn't actually announce themselves as Pleiadians. They shall I go ahead with that, Larry, and just elaborate a bit more?
Yep.
Well, one night I was actually just, I think it was about 3 a.m. or something around that time. Bearing in mind I was only 6, 7 years old, and I was just, I woke up from a deep sleep, and I just thought, I need to. It was like a feeling, like I just sprung up out of bed, like I was about to reunite or connect, but I couldn't understand what was happening and why. And then as I actually went to my bedroom window, I looked out, and there was like 3 beings staring at me, and I didn't know what to think, to be honest, because they kind of merged the window when I was looking out of my bedroom window they were staring actually in through my window, if that makes sense, from outside, and they were just smiling and waving at me, and I just thought, well, I don't know, I didn't know what to think, I didn't really think, I suppose, it just happened, and then a massive white light just appeared, and then all of a sudden I saw the 3 beings actually merge through the walls, and the whole of my bedroom went pure white, and these 3 tall white beings, they had like white light, and they had really long white hair, looked very grand, I suppose, but they were very sort of like crystal-like looking. They looked like crystals. I can't really explain it, but they had an unusual aura around them, and they actually showed me visually where I'm from, because the one thing I remember them saying telepathically is, "You are one of us," and I just sort of smiled, because I knew, like, from that point, I knew that there was something truthful about the whole experience, but I couldn't explain it. And then they actually showed me visually in my mind, telepathically or visually, a star system, and they said, "You're from Electra." Of course, being that young, I didn't know where Electra was. I had no internet. I had no books about this. I had nothing. So as I got older, I delved further into research and to find out where Electra was, and I found out it's from the Pleiades. And ever since that time, they've contacted me. Ever since, they've manifested into physical form, although more like a holographic kind of form, or they've turned up as orbs, just various things, and the experiences are still going very strong today. And yeah, that's where I am at, Larry and Raquel. That's what's
That's
really
awesome.
Thank you.
Wow, awesome.
It is, and one thing I wanted you to mention too, because you and I have talked about this, and this is what's really similar, is that where we first heard that term, Pleiadian. Where you remember what we talked about? You know, and I had mentioned that I had heard it out of the blue on a radio night. Yeah, when did that word first come into your consciousness?
I think that word Pleiadians itself, it came into my consciousness. I think when I was hearing a radio show a long time ago, and it was just a random, I mean, literally a random radio show where I just turned on, and I heard the word, the people talking about their experiences with extraterrestrials, and because I was still kind of young at that time, I still didn't really, I mean, I must have been about 13, 14. I think I must have heard the conversation, and then I heard the word Pleiadians, and I heard the word extraterrestrials and their descriptions, and I thought, oh, wow, that's pretty much what I've been experiencing. I didn't see these beings as extraterrestrials. To me, I just saw them as equals, because it felt like they were me and I was them, but it was like a connection. It was a unity. It wasn't. I didn't see them as anything else. I mean, I've had the experience with beings with blue skin. And not just the Nordic-looking type beings. There are many different types of Pleiadian beings I've had experiences with, but the first word I actually heard was definitely from the radio, and then I realised when I did further research, when they told me I'm from Electra, it's obviously because it's in the Pleiades, so that's originally where I heard it from, and yeah, so that's where I heard it from.
So as it stands now today, I also wanted to mention one time when you and I were talking, Victoria, when we were doing a face-to-face voice chat, and all the beings that I saw behind you, different style of beings, orb beings. plasma-looking beings. They were like all over surrounding me, like sometimes they surrounded me. And I just wanted to mention to everybody in the audience that it was really mind-blowing to see that, because I was seeing some of the same things that are around me, and I'm sure some of the same things that Raquel deals with and sees all the time. So these things will show up on camera and video, whereas they may not show up, or somebody who's sitting there talking to you face to face might not be able to see. I know, like with Raquel, a lot of the pictures that she's taken, she hasn't been able to see them until once they were actually taken, and looking into the pictures and seeing these things. So it's really exciting that technology can do that, can capture these interdimensional beings.
Absolutely. I think it was really interesting when, like you said, Larry, when me and you were having a conversation on Google, and just literally as we were speaking, we could just see, like, I don't know if Larry noticed or I noticed, but literally you could see like the beings and the orbs. They were just sort of forming like a shape of a humanoid, would you say, I guess? And they were sort of moving left to right, and they were just standing right behind me, and they were coming closer. And I just thought, well, that's, you know, it's a beautiful experience, and I feel very humbled to be in their presence, because they're just always there protecting me, and they protect a lot of people around me as well. And I just hope that, you know, that even if we just see one thing in our lifetime, even if it's just one orb, you know, that's a blessing just to see that. It really is. It's just, you know, to feel protected, whether it's angelic, extraterrestrial. You know, these beings of light are here to protect us. They're here to, you know, integrate their energies into us and through us. And I feel that, you know, we can benefit so much from them. It's a blessing.
Yeah, Raquel, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I know that that even just the, you know, that like with me, it started out with capturing them on camera. So it's really cool because, you know, with meeting you, Larry, and then, you know, you started seeing my pictures. You're like, holy shit, like that's, you know, that's what I see with my eyes. It's so cool you can capture it on camera. But the feeling, like now I'm starting to see more with my eyes, and not, you know, I still capture a lot on the camera, but I'm starting to gradually, I guess everything when I'm ready. I guess I'm not totally ready to see, you know, what you guys do yet. So I'm starting to see, but where was I going with that? Oh yeah, but just knowing, like, just the feeling, you know, when they're around is just, it's so amazing. Like it's so much love and so much comfort, and just like a bliss, like a blissful, beautiful feeling, right? Like, and I think that's why a lot of people really resonate and really like you know, really enjoy you know, the photographs that I do take. They really speak to a lot of people because people just feel there's something, you know, they feel them in the pictures. So it's pretty amazing that I'm able to, you know, that I've been able to capture that, right? But yeah, but these, yeah, they're just like, I didn't, I've never really, like, I've always been a very earthy person. I've never really had my head up in the stars or really thought about the stars too much. But I don't know, but just in, you know, in connecting with them, in contact, you know, when they contacted me and now I'm connected with them, it's just, anytime I find myself down, you know, dwelling or being, you know, just in a shitty mood or whatever, all I have to do is just stop, breathe, relax. I can feel my hand being held, and it kind of swung gently back side to side. Their energy is just, they're right here all the time, and it's just, it's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, one day I hope everybody, I guess when everybody's ready, you know, when you're ready to experience it, they will come, you know, they will come and be a constant part of your life, right? And how amazing is that? I mean, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with that, Raquel. I think they are here to comfort us, and I think the more people that are ready and are willing to sort of, you know, go beyond themselves and just, you know, get to that point where they can actually just relax and just really take everything in, I think that's the time when they will make themselves more known. I mean, I feel kind of lucky because I am actually a clairvoyant, but, you know, regardless of that, I know that people are having these experiences, more people are waking up, and I think there's just so much, you know, positive energy from these beings and from these orbs, and it's just you know, who doesn't want to feel comforted? But at the same time, we have to discern as well, obviously, to some degree, because I think that a lot of people will just pick up on energies and just assume that, oh, this must be good because of this energy. But it's really, you have to really feel them with your heart more than anything.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's you know, when you feel that only a loving, a genuine loving being of 100% pure light will only just sort of, you'll only feel that. You won't feel anything else but love.
No.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's an unmistakable feeling. It's a total unmistakable feeling. You just know, right? Like it's not like you're it's not like they're out to trick you or anything. Like, you know, you're not being tricked. You're, in your heart, you know. So, but I think that there's some people out there too that are so, well, I want to meet my star family, and I'm confused, and I'm, you know, they're going and asking everyone questions. How do I connect? And these are the people that still have a lot, like, you know, our families are not going to, our star families are not going to be a constant part of their life until they get past that, until they, you know, until they get past that part. It's kind of like, you know, just do your thing, do what you're supposed to be doing here, go through the process. Don't worry about it, because you do have support, whether they're, you know, whether you're in contact with them or not on a daily basis. You will have support, and they will contact you. But when the time, when they know that it's the right time for you,
they will. And the other thing to point out as well is, obviously, they are not here to save us.
No.
I mean, there's a misconception. A lot of people will inbox me, message me, and say on Facebook, for example, or even out when I meet them. You know, people say, "Are they coming to save us?" I know someone who I want them to save us, and I simply say, "Well, yeah, we have a lot of work. Self-actualization is one thing. We have to we really do have to work on ourselves. It's not just about clearing your energy. It's about clearing your karmic energy, your imprint. It's also about the earth changes. A lot of things are happening." You know, some people are just born into families that are just chaotic, and you know, you have to really open your eyes with your heart as well, and just see it for what it is. I mean, they won't save us, but at the same time, they'll save us to an extent. Obviously, if we save ourselves, you know, again, through working on ourselves and really understanding. And obviously, one thing really is connecting with our inner wisdom, our unity, and obviously with our higher selves. Because that's really the only information we always really need is literally from our higher selves. I mean, there is no, you know, it's the strongest thing to connect ourselves with the source, and that's really where the answers lie. Because the extraterrestrials, to some extent, and the Pleiadians will help us so far and guide us, but we really have to guide ourselves, and we've got to discern from so much that's happening, all this misinformation. We're at a very crucial point now where we have to really sit down and be serious about this, because there's only so many things that comes along in our way and our path, and we have to really just understand where we take it from there, I think.
Well, the way I see it, as far as, you know, people thinking, okay, well, they're going to come save us, they're going to come save us. My experience with them has been, it's been almost like a parent-child kind of relationship. Like, not really, but like, because I'm, you know, they're like equal to me. I am them, they are me. But at the same time, it's kind of like with our children. We have children. We don't go in and you know, countermanage our kids' lives, and you know, our kids have to grow up, because they have to go through their experiences. They have to experience pain. They have to experience being alone. They have to experience trauma. You know, mild traumas hopefully only, but they have to experience that in order to grow and evolve. So, you know, so it's kind of like, that's kind of the way I can describe it, is that, you know, they love us so much, and you know, they also know that we, you know, they can't do this for us, because the whole reason why we're here is to experience everything, so our souls can evolve, right? And so they're here for support, not to come in and just say, okay, I'm doing it for you, because you can't do that, right? So yeah,
right. Absolutely, I totally agree with that. It's just, you know, once we've got to a certain level of you know, evolving and you know, experiencing. I mean, some, you know, starseeds and people that are here are just here to experience, but a lot of them are also just here to hold frequencies, and also on specific missions as well, which I can't honestly say what they are, because there are so many different beings here with different missions. But inevitably, it really is, it's up to them. I mean, we can't really push another, but we really must take responsibility for ourselves more than anything else, because this is what we have here, for now.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much more to experience, you know, elsewhere. So it's good to keep an open mind, but be responsible as well, I think. And not to really push it in people's faces, like, come on, awaken, awaken. When the time is right, I feel that there are certain activation buttons within an individual, and they will awaken to some degree. I mean, someone in a family, for example, there may be one person awakened, but that doesn't mean that just that person's going to be awakened. There'll be little subtle hints, and there'll be, you know, again, there'll be a calling, and people will just realize, okay, well, maybe there is some truth in this. It's like my father, for a long time, he knew there was very unusual things going on in my life. He couldn't explain it, but he would see things. And, you know, he's really come to the realization now that he accepts I'm a Pleiadian. He understands from past events. And with that spark, he's obviously realized something within himself. And he's actually starting to awaken. But without me actually doing anything, it's just my dad has come to that point. And like a lot of our listeners out there, I'm sure that someone in their family, they've come to a point where they have a neighbor or a friend or a child, and they've come to that realization themselves without having to be pushed. I think, you know, I guess, yes, that's the way.
My mom has woken up right like alongside me. She's witnessed and experienced so much just through, you know, because I live with her, right? So through what I've been going through, she's been the beginning. God, there was noises on her roof. We live on the 3rd floor, and there was noises on her roof. There was a knock on the balcony door on the 3rd floor, and there's no way, you know, no access. She was seeing lights on the balcony. There was noises like when my body was being repaired, and we'll talk about that sometime. But there was noises almost like wings. It was like a flapping noise. Like, what the hell, Mom's like, what is that, right? So she witnessed all that. But also she's like, as far as her change in diet, as far as being more sensitive to toxins, like, you know, the shampoo she uses and the food she eats, and meat doesn't really agree with her anymore. And so she's like right along with me. It's awesome.
Wow.
I'm hoping my son will come around soon, because my son just it's really hard to be around him. Like, he doesn't want to be around me because it was with the physical that I'm going through too. It's a lot of it's been really rapid, like my facial structure, my bones and everything are changing, so my jaw moves in some really bizarre ways, and sometimes my jaw will just open like really wide, and it'll just be like stuck there, not locked jaw. I mean, I could stop it if I had to, but it's just to allow move, you know, the bones to shift and everything. And he doesn't, I think that scares him. He's like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, stop it, you're a freak. But it's fear, right? He doesn't know what the hell I'm turning into. Neither do I. I don't want to think about it.
No, I think in time, I mean, obviously he'll realise what's happening, and he'll just accept it. I mean, really, really, truly, and not feel, you know, like, oh, Mum, what are you doing? But
yeah,
it's also the same with me. I mean, obviously going through this whole process and dealing with a human body, I mean, that's emotional enough. But I've noticed, I think about 2-3 years ago, I noticed my head was changing its structure, and it started off like that, like it feels like your head's expanding, literally.
Yeah.
That, you know, and then you think, okay, and there was more things, like my eyes would be slightly morphing, more cat-like, and I thought, I'm just going to go with this, and I'm not going to fight it, because this is how it's meant to be. And I think there are some people who will resist, and the people that do resist the Ascension symptoms, for example, as well, because obviously people always say, oh, well, we're all going to, you know, ascend and all this kind of thing into higher thinking, technically, which is Ascension. But I know that, you know, Gaia is going to be ascending first because she's earned her place. But also along the Ascension is people are going to obviously shift and change. But for those who don't literally want to ascend, there is no easy answer, because all of this has never really happened before. I mean, yes, maybe on other planets and other solar systems, but this is basically all just a big experiment, and we are the fortunate ones. I mean, there are literally souls crying really hard to come here, to be born as a human, into a human body. And I think, you know, there was one communication I did have. There was this lady I used to know, and she was, you know, about 8 months pregnant. I remember having a conversation. It was very random. I went to a meditation group, and I never really bothered, but I thought, well, I'll go ahead. And there was a lady there, and she was pregnant, like I say, and I remember hearing this tiny little voice, but it was like it was a child's voice, but it wasn't. It was like, you know, like you can imagine those of crystals or chimes. It's the chimes ringing, and it was like it was a voice, but it was a chime, and it wasn't really much of a voice either. It's kind of hard to describe. And I remember having the first conversation with a crystal child, an unborn crystal child, and I just thought, okay, I understand. And I think I was relaying messages to the mother, and the mother was like, how did you know that that's what I wanted in the room and that's what the child likes? And I said, well, the child's thanking you for putting that huge, humongous bear in the room. And she was really amazed, but that was my, you know, with these new species coming into the earth as well, not just, obviously the indigos have been up for a while, they've been here for a long time, but the crystals and the avatars and the rainbow children, I think it's really interesting that obviously, you know, they've come with all of their strands activated, and I think they can actually teach us something. You know, I've met a few of them, but they always seem to amaze me. You know, and I think I've even had a conversation where I'm talking about Ascension symptoms and going on about the how we're changing our structures, what we're actually you know, changing into is another matter. You know, people say light perhaps, but I just feel like I've heard that some people will be changing the crystalline form. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it just feels like, you know, a lot of us are going back into our original true form, our true essence.
Yes, yes.
So that's really where we're heading to. But again, those who resist, it's not a negative thing to resist or not. It's just choice. I mean, we came with our soul contracts before we entered into our bodies, and simply it was just a matter of, okay, tick the boxes. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And you know already what's happening in your life. You've pre-planned it. You've designed your life as you would a computer game. So we're all living in one universal brain, I suppose. So we're just reflecting what we already want. So I just see it as that. And if you see him with a giant alien head, don't be surprised. Just go with it. Just go with it. Just you know, just go, oh, it's Victoria. Don't worry about that. But yeah, it's an exciting time.
Certainly is. Not an easy process, that's for sure, but it sure is a beautiful one.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, you know, when you think about it, and all the struggles you have in 3D life, and what it really comes down to is, don't worry about anything. We come from love. We are love, and all we do is give love. And really, that's all it is. Spreading that message. It's not just about, oh, it's an obvious thing. It's not always an obvious thing. People can say love, but they can't show love. Yet they mean love, but they can't accept love. So it's, you know, it's all very well when people say love and light, but it really is really, really, truly meaning it. Love is a very sacred creation. It's part of us, but we really have to understand, and we really have to really expose love more, I think, you know, for what it really is, not so much the romantic side. This is more of a divine love, and I think each and every individual, I really hope this planet really starts to really show it a lot more than it already is. I mean, on many levels, you know, and I think we'll be in for a beautiful surprise.
Oh,
really.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you were talking about the Ascension symptoms. And have you guys had people in your life, or neighbors, or family members, or both of you, that you know, right? They may be going through these Ascension symptoms, right? But their consciousness is not like where ours are. They're not aware of why this is going on, and they may be at a crossroads because maybe they went or maybe they tried medication, self-medicating, whatever, and they don't know what the hell's going on. And I kind of worry about the people that may be going through these physical Ascension, right? But they're not quite aware of why they are. And, you know, I really, to be honest, don't know what to do to help those people, because if you try to tell them what's really going on, it sounds so far out and peculiar that, you know, they just dismiss it. But yet innately you see a spark in them that, you know, it rings true to them, what you're saying, but it's just so far out for them to understand. And I just wonder if either one of you have ever dealt with people that are probably going through these symptoms and they have no clue as to why they are.
Well, Janice has been going through. She's been having going through Ascension symptoms for about 2 years now. You know, fairly gradual, but all the regular ones, like, you know, the heart, you know, your heart chakra opening up, and the guidance, sudden movements, and seeing things whip by your head cracking, your jaw shifting and stuff like that. She's been going through that for about 2 years now, and we never talked about it before because, well, I was a major heroin addict, and so, you know, I guess that delayed my process. And so we didn't really have a reason to talk. Whoa, something just went whipping by my eyes. Speaking of that, we didn't really have a reason to talk about it. But it's so awesome because then she did the body talk classes and all that, and it's so awesome the way everything kind of is working. You know, is worked out because then I started. She didn't know what was going on at the beginning of my process. She thought I was having a total breakdown, a psychotic break. And then as she started doing the body talk, and then she's been in this process with me, so you know, I would describe, okay, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm going through, and she's like, oh, yep, me too. I've been going through this for the past, 2 years or whatever, but hers has been more gradual. She's like, with me, she's like, I don't know how you're doing it. This is like less than a year. So it wasn't until till my abrupt awakening, and then the Ascension symptoms just were like bang, and they're still really intense, that she now understands what she's been going through for the past couple years. It's all working out as it should, and I believe that there's still many people out there that are going to doctors and they're really overly worried about it. With me, it's like I didn't know what the hell was happening to me, and but I don't know, I just went with it. I thought, okay, whatever's happening is happening, right? And I just allowed my body to do whatever it needs to do, and everything seems to be working out okay. But if it wasn't, because of the Pleiadian groups, Janice is in the Pleiadian groups now too. So it seems to be like with whatever we're going through on a certain day or whatever, if I make a post about some kind of Ascension symptom that I'm going through, or ringing the ears or whatever, there's so many. Oh my God, there's like the thread just goes on forever because everybody is experiencing it at the same time. So I mean, that's so awesome. How awesome is that to know that everybody else is experiencing it too? So it's not a medical problem. It's cool. It's natural. It's a natural process, and you're not alone, right? And so it was so awesome for Janice to find that out. Okay, well, shit, this is why the doctors couldn't find anything wrong with me for over 2 years. It's because there's nothing wrong with me because, she's going through the Ascension thing, right? So I don't know. I have faith that everything's going to work out exactly as it should. Remember what we were talking about earlier? Has anything ever not worked out? Right?
Right.
It's going to work out as it should, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Great show, but exactly, totally, and yeah, exactly. And I like what you said about the groups and the threads will go on forever. It's like I was telling Sith the other night. I was like, okay, well, either this is completely real, which it is, or the only other fluke of a 1 in a trillion possibility is that, okay, we're all going fucking crazy at one point. that would be even more wilder than that we're all extraterrestrials and Victoria.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is, I only noticed, obviously, with Ascension symptoms, I noticed myself for a long period of time, and I was, because I had mine from a very young age. So to be fair, it just kind of felt normal, but at the same time, I noticed people around me were acting strange. So it wasn't really me, it was more people around me, how they were kind of acting more strange because they couldn't understand what I was going through or what I was feeling, or they just couldn't understand. I mean, particularly family members in my family. So for me to recognise in myself, and then now I can recognise in others, whether on Facebook or my neighbour or my friends, I think one piece of advice I would actually probably give them really is to just take it easy on yourself, because you never know what tomorrow's actually going to bring to you. I mean, obviously the Ascension symptoms themselves they do take a long time, but depending on your own personal spiritual journey, they could be for a long time or probably in a matter of weeks. But at the same time, it's ready. You can only allow so much as what you're already given. There's only so much that you can actually allow yourself to sort of go through and realize, well, obviously the prime creator himself, or he, she, energy, would only give so much for you to sort of experience. And I think when you've got to that point, you can sort of just say, okay, well, I allow this in my life, and I want to calm. Just go with it. Go with the flow, because there really isn't any other way to go about it. I mean, it's your body and the planetary bodies that are sort of coming to the point of, okay, well, this is really physical. This is really happening. There is nothing wrong with you. I mean, with me, it started in my heart. I thought I had heart problems. I was having heart monitors. I was getting scanned regularly, thinking, well, there's something wrong with my heart, and the doctors couldn't find any problems. And it just turns out that it was part of my Ascension symptoms. So,
Yeah.
you know, obviously, if you do feel, I mean, this is to the viewers as well, if you do feel there is a problem in it, it really is hurting you to an extent where you feel like you're going mad, or maybe you need someone to talk to, try and confide in someone who you can trust, rather than just go to the doctor straight away. Confide in someone and ask for their opinion. But obviously, if it's a physical and it really is hurting, I mean, obviously I don't give medical advice, that's, you know, but obviously it's good to speak to a doctor, see if there's any underlying problem. But essentially it's it really is Ascension symptoms. I mean, a lot of them will be just very unusual, and you just have to really, really keep yourself as grounded as possible and keep yourself very earthy, because I think that's really what you can do in this physical world at the moment, and do whatever makes your heart happy and makes you happy, and just go with that, because going against what you're already having and creating is probably not such a wise thing to do. Obviously, like, oh, well, I'm going to go to a loud, you know, metal concert now. I've got a really banging headache. I think I'll go and do that. It's probably not the wisest decision, really, but I think maybe just, you know, relax as much as possible. And if you recognize the Ascension symptoms in yourself, at least you'll be able to recognize in another and try and help them out. I mean, that's the whole point, and we really are meant to spread that kind of understanding amongst each of us, I feel. So that's really what, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a reason why, you know, there's many reasons why we're going through it. And I mean, I know that because we're all, you know, we're all going through the same thing, but yet we're all different. Like, I mean, you've been, you know, you woken at a really young age. And, you know, with me, I was, you know, given a second chance at life at an older age. And my ascensions and, you know, the changes to my body and stuff, just in the past, and I'm not even a full year yet, have been absolutely intense, and I'm getting like a crash course in it. It's like boom, boom, you know, like, and I know the reason for that is because there's many people that are going to be coming behind me that are it's going to take a bit, you know, it's going to take a bit longer, is they're not going to go through as much as I am in a year. So it's been a matter of really figuring out listening to my body, figuring out what works, you know, the natural things that were remedies, natural foods, what works for this pain, what's a good stretching exercise for this pain, tapping, the body talk, all that. So I've been through my process just in the past year. I have, like, oh my gosh, like, I've learned so much, like, I just intuitively knew. I was guided to you know, to certain foods. I was guided to certain things. So so I know that's for me to be able to help, you know, people that are, you know, that are starting to experience it now, or that is going through it now. Same with you, you know, because you started out so young. So we're all different, but we all have so much, you know, like, so much to, you know, to offer and to help people. I think that's a big reason why I'm here is, well, we're all here, but a big reason that I went through it so quickly is to be able to, like, this whole body talk thing really has to get out there. And that's going to really help a lot of people, because I haven't been to a doctor in a year. Before that, I was going to a doctor every 2 weeks. I was on so many different medications. I had so many different illnesses. I haven't even seen a doctor for over a year. And so, yeah, we really got to get body talk and stuff out there soon, because I think that's going to be, that's essential for Ascension. That's the only thing that I've used.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I agree. And Raquel, you and I have talked about body talk, and in fact, we have that good friend of yours, Janice, that eventually, you know, we want to get her on and talk to her about it. But all in due time, things meant to happen. But it's funny, I don't listen to a lot of channelers, but the one that I really love and dig, because he's always right on, is Cryon. And Cryon mentioned body talk recently in one of his channelings, and it just blew me away, because he briefly touched on it, that it would be something in the future. And we had just talked about that, you and I, the day before, we had talked about that, and trying to get Janice comfortable enough to come on air and discuss body talk, because it's something that it needs to be out there and talked about. I don't care if it was completely something that somebody thought was a quack job or whatever. This, I just feel, is really something that is just going to need to be out there. And I'm really interested to find out more about this body talk. I know that, so far I know it's helped you, and I know that Cryan alluded to it helping a lot of people in the future. So I just am really excited about that.
Yeah, I believe that the body talk was actually it was the whole system or whatever was created by one man. I think he might have been Native Indian, but I'm not sure. But I mean, it's amazing. It's what it is it's a series like Janice will hold my wrist and she moves my wrist in a way and she gets answers by the resistance, like whether my hand's resisting or whether my wrist is resisting or not. And and then it's a series of tappings on different areas, on the head, on the chest, like different different areas. But the guy that like he just kind of came up, he just kind of came up with it, with all of it. No, he got it from the stars. I know he did. That's where body talk came from. He got that wisdom for the whole, for body talk from the stars. I know that, and it's absolutely amazing. So I'll talk to her and see if we can get her on here soon to discuss it.
Yeah, and absolutely it can be a start. You're saying that, it just made me think of, something, not to get off point, but something like even Nikola Tesla had mentioned. His inventions coming to him from the Pleiades, from the stars, and it did. It was consciousness that came to him from the stars to come up with such a thing. And I think that's a great point, that when human society is ready for certain steps in their growth, this consciousness will come through. And somebody in Bangladesh could be getting this. Somebody in Vancouver, BC, London, Chicken Switch, Arkansas. It really doesn't matter. An African jungle or a big city street. There are people that are getting this consciousness in sporadic places, and that's kind of bringing us together. I really do feel, and that's just how I feel. And I was thinking, when listening to Victoria talk about, well, this has really gone on for her whole life. Well, Sif has the same thing. It's really gone on for her whole life. So they're kind of the rarity. They're not like, say, Raquel and I aren't a lot of people that got this either 1-year crash course like Raquel's got, or like a 3-year spaced out like I did, where it just comes like right there and then you get to the point. I think I talked to Raquel about this before. Okay, remembering how you were before. Of course, you remember things that went on in your life, a movie you saw, this and that. But then again, too, Raquel, doesn't it almost seem like it was a different lifetime or a different person?
Well, I know for me, it's I guess I think I asked that question. Oh yeah, I did. I made a post about that, just saying that when I look back at my life experiences, it's almost like in the third person. Like I know that I experienced them. Some part of me experienced them, but I don't feel any of the emotions attached to them anymore. So the abuse and the suffering and the pain and even the happiness, I just don't feel the emotions that from my past experiences. All those are gone. So, but then again, my situation's a little bit different too. It's still, really, it's gonna take a while still to process a lot of it. But I think that I got actually quite a huge response, because a lot of people are feeling that way too. It's because they've done, they've done the work on self. They're doing the work on self. So they've gotten to the point now where they're freed. They've let go. They've let go of it. They freed themselves from all the, from the pain, from the trauma, they freed themselves from all that. I think that's why, I think that a lot of people are at that point, and there's still a lot that aren't yet, but I think many people are at that point. As far as I remember from the post I made, I believe a lot of people are.
Yeah, no, totally, I agree. it goes back to, we had mentioned this on a previous show, talking about the abuse that you dealt with in your childhood and what you went through in your family, and and self-medicating. And of course, I was thinking about, for me, I was self-medicating to, just I was a spoiled only child and wanted to have that feel as a teenager. So, I went into that mode. But, I'd be curious, Victoria, with the fact that you've always pretty much been in sync with this, I mean, does it just seem like, okay, you don't, your whole life probably seems like in first person. I mean, does it seem to you at all like, some of your life was in third person and it doesn't seem like it was you, or is it just, I mean, this is just something like I'm getting that you probably have always already known. So it's not like, okay, well, you had this big change in your life, and then there it was.
Well, I think it was just really difficult for me growing up, because obviously, for me, you know, I don't know, it was just like I did see myself as a third person, but at the same time, it's like you're on autopilot, and you're doing that because you have to protect yourself. I mean, that's one of the biggest thing I've had to deal with, is actually protecting myself from all kinds of external forces. Obviously, because there have been some negative entities and all kinds of things that have been around, not from me, but around me, because once these kind of forces acknowledge that you're a lighted being, I think it's really difficult, because a lot of these attachments and things that happen to people in their families, and they tend to target those that love you, so you're seeing like people that love you, but they're acting out of character. And for me, one of the biggest challenges for me growing up with knowing what I am and everything is just to protect myself, and just really just understand that, not everyone will be on my level. That's one of the lessons that the Pleiadians brought for me, is obviously that people are at different states in their lifetime, and you just have to really accept them for who they are, what they are, and not to judge them. Just because they don't understand something that's going on in your life doesn't mean that you dismiss them. It just means that they have a different level of understanding. I mean, but for a long time, it kind of feels like I was literally just alone. I mean, that's one of the things I've noticed. I've been alone all my life with this. Just sometimes it feels a bit like a burden, but when you actually meet like-minded souls, and obviously as I'm older now, I can obviously go onto Facebook and look after the Pleiadian groups and acknowledge that there are people out there that really do want to find out more about themselves and their star ancestors, but also learn more about themselves and during their process. And I think it's important to sort of acknowledge that and just take them for where they are at their level now, because this is not a competition, I guess. It's just, it is what it is. And foremost, it's important to really, really just look after yourself as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're bombarded by so many energies. I mean, if it's not the photon belt, which obviously activates the Ascension symptoms in our DNA cellular bodies, I feel like, well, you've got the other entities that are trying to acknowledge starseeds, who are actually trying to target them as well. Good or bad, see how you want. It's all about perspective at the end of the day. But I feel that so many people are coming to this mass consciousness now that, I do feel that more light, I mean, I know this because I feel this, that more light is being activated in this world, not just only on our bodies. And I just feel that, there will come a time when everyone will just acknowledge it and just literally just feel it. Not have to explain it, but feel it. So I guess that's where I come in from that point.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about it. You subtly see that some people changing, but that we know in our life, that are going, well, Raquel has the fortune of it, her mom's going along, going into this kind of with her. She's, has an open mind, of the consciousness. A lot of us aren't so lucky to have people around us like that. But I think that yet more and more you see subtly the way people are acting towards each other and acting towards animals. And it seems like there is more light. It seems like the planet's more brighter. I don't know, out here on the west coast of North America, and I think Raquel could probably attest to the colors are brighter, colors are more vibrant. It's not dark, dreary London where you're at. No, I'm just kidding, Victoria, but it just seems like things are lighter, things are brighter. Even the sky is like pure blue, it's like a lighter blue, almost like a hyperdimensional blue, like it's an ocean. The flowers are more colorful. Just things like that, you can see these subtle little signs. And again, like I see in my neighbors, it's kind of the way that they're, people are more responsive instead of reactive. I think, they're more into that 4D. So if I do it now, more reactive instead of
I can't hear him.
they don't just go, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, the problem. They're like, okay, what can we do? How can we get together as a community or a collective? How can we solve these issues? And we see it too with animals. Animals are more and more in tune, and they're ascending at that level too, and they're more in tune with us. The trees, the plants, the trees are alive, the orbs, obviously. And, that's just kind of the way the planet is going right now, and people need to understand that this is a process. It's not evil or it's not good. It's not bad. This morning I had the consciousness to create the new page on Facebook, creating Orbs page, and I was looking into some material on YouTube, and I saw a video of something that a neighbor of mine captured, and I know that Raquel is sending this guy before kind of the heart-shaped gifting star, and this guy had his video labeled demonic fallen angels, and it just makes me laugh because even if that were the case, it's just so human like of people stuck in 3D to act out of fear and think that they're demonic. They're just sitting there in the sky screwing with us because they're that bored and have nothing better to do. I mean, it's kind of comical, but yet I hate to have that kind of information out there because that scares a lot of people.
Mm.
I don't know.
And it really doesn't scares them, and it scares them away from thinking things through. And I have to really watch myself sometimes as an admin in these groups of these posts because you'll get people that come in with these scared. They're scared. And it's hard for me, not in my cynical, creating mind, not to sarcastically brush it off and tell them it's okay, but they're so hung up on, ooh, this big fear, this scary thing coming to us. In reality, so what if it was? I mean, what's the worst that they're going to do? I mean, cut up your body, what? I mean, what is it? Live your life in fear of, it's worth it. And I see it from that point of view now, and I understand, like, you can go through this, and life and dreams like this
My stars are gone.
are not here just to screw around with people. And Raquel, I heard you in the background. Are you looking at that star?
Pardon?
Are you looking at that star? Are you looking at
No,
that?
they're gone. My stars are gone. I just told Mom, look, the stars are gone.
Yes, well, the good news
They're gone.
is that.
Funny how stars just up and disappear, eh?
Yeah, it really is because, like I was thinking the other night, I think almost that when you do that, Raquel, maybe they're slipping into a portal. They're slipping into a portal like the sun does, or maybe even the moon does. So these things are slipping in out of the portal, right? And then have you noticed, like Raquel, when they go away, have you noticed that they've been a little bit later, they'll be back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You know what I've noticed through, like, excuse me, this whole show, though? You're, something weird is coming through with your voice, that I can hear anyway. I haven't been able to hear much of what you're saying. And when you've been talking, I've been hearing this, like static, like a humming kind of coming from the speaker on my tablet. So there's some kind of noise, underneath you, and I broke this. What'd you break? Oh, fuck.
Oh,
Son of a fucking bitch.
Good Lord, Victoria, does it sound like I'm coming through like a reptilian maybe? No, I'm joking.
Oh, no. No. And it was a bit hard for me to hear, actually, because I just, You know, the sound was going a bit low, but I think we can work through it. Put it that way. Everything is possible.
Yes, everything definitely is possible. I mean,
Everything, yeah. I think we're just coming in tune with our true multidimensional natures, and you know, even like the voices when we're speaking like this at the moment. I mean, it goes for anyone, obviously, that communication and time, everything is so fluid at this point now that I do feel that we'll come to a point where we're all telepathic and we won't need to speak literally. And I think maybe we'll evolve with no mouths, or who knows, but. I'd like to keep my mouth, but other than that, I think again we're all coming to our true essence and our true nature, and I just feel like the mass accumulation of all that will just take fold and just take place, and you know.
well, Victoria, think about this though. I mean, in Earth years, you know, I'm not going to give out everybody's age here, 39, 42, and about 33. But the internet has really been an amazing thing. I mean, could you imagine? I know certainly Raquel and I could definitely not imagine, you know, in our teenage years or even into our 20s, having a conversation like this with, okay, I'm on the coast of Oregon, in the United States. Granted, Raquel's only 9 hours away. But you're here across the ocean in the UK. And think about this. Think about it. As much as I, you know, clown on Facebook and call it Facebook and all these different things, Facebook, for whatever reason, was there as a tool for us all to connect together. So I've been really trying lately hard not to bag on Facebook and really look at it as a positive.
Yeah.
Facebook, none of us would have ever met on a fluke of a fluke of a fluke. We all would have been stuck in that mentality of, okay, we're different, but the weird thing is we never knew why we were different, and that's really, really the hard part about it. Because it'd be one thing if you knew why you were a complete nut or a fruitcake or and greedy and crazy and a weirdo. Like one of our fellow admins, Kiki Pollock, was telling me one time, you know, but then again, I'm just a weirdo. Well, we all of Starseeds really are weirdos. And it's nothing growing up that really set us apart and made us bad, but we were different to the point where maybe even it manifested us into rebelling, okay, so to speak, in 3D, whether it was you with Goth Victoria, or whether it was Raquel and I with drugs, or whether whatever. You just, you know, you just feel different, and you can't quite put your finger on it, and then you get talking to people in these groups, and almost to a T, even at worst, these people's stories are 80% kind of the same as what you know you sort of had growing up and had to deal with. And yet maybe a few percentage of us had another person in our life maybe that could kind of get it, but still not many of us. And I think that it's been a really great thing, and everything was done for a reason, and you know, and so it goes, and we just keep on going down this process.
Yeah, I think what it also done, Facebook as well, it sort of made us come out of that isolation. And obviously, yeah, I mean, if we didn't have Facebook, or fair enough, we've got books and things like that and the internet, which is fine, but I feel that some people will still kind of be lost. You know, Facebook is great for the groups and everything like that, and connecting and trying to understand. Okay, some people ask like which you know, which star system am I from, or and I'll have messages like that in my inbox, and it kind of feels nice to kind of feel like you are helping someone, even if they don't really understand themselves. It's just you're bringing them closer to their true essence, and again, their true nature of who they are. I mean, we're all, no matter which star system we're all from the source. And really that's how I see it. I mean, you're all, you know, the children of the divine, and you know, I think he would have wanted, that's why we got the internet, everything, you know, created, so we can all connect, you know. So everything's a possibility, everything is, it's already there. It's a matter of just taking hold of it and really accessing it and using it to our best advantage. I mean, that's what the Pleiadians you know, have invented technology, and obviously the Arcturians before them, which, you know, they kind of came in first before the Pleiadians, but, you know, to bring in knowledge and healings and teachings. But essentially, information should be utilized in whatever possible way we can have to, you know, so we can evolve, so we can move on, so we can spread our wings, I believe.
Yeah, I like what you said about we all come from the source, because I have this thought all the time. It's crazy, I know, but I have this thought of waking up to full consciousness in whatever higher, way up dimension is. Or having this thought of waking up, and it come to find out we were all it's just me, it's you, we're all one body, and it's one source of different variations of that source going out and exploring and bringing back experiences. I know, like Barbara Marcin had talked about, and Bringers of Dawn, but it really rings true, and I think that that's what it is, and it doesn't really matter what star system you're from, Pleiades, Arcturus, Sirius, Draconius, Orion, whatever. We all have those issues. I know you and I, Victoria, especially have a little bit of issues with Orion still, but we're all working through that and coming back to the source, and such. So it really doesn't matter. And you touched on another thing too, because I've really kind of grown up in the past few weeks as far as my sarcasm towards. I know one thing I used to always joke about was all these questions with admins in the group, like, how'd you know you can play, and how am I an Arcturian? I think I'm a Syrian. Am I an indigo? Am I a Blu-ray? Am I a crystal? Am I a rainbow? Am I a whatever? Am I a, am I a piece of lint on the floor? Gee, I only matched 12 out of 14 of the characteristics on YouTube, so I can't be that. But I tried to get into the point where I told people not to get hung up on the labels, because these are all interesting, they're all valid. These are all very valid, the traits of these different star systems and different variations of the indigos, whether it's Blu-ray, crystal, or rainbow, or whatever. It's valid, but it's interchangeable too. Just because you were born in the era of the indigos in the 80s doesn't mean you don't have any Blu-ray symptoms of the mid-late 60s to late 70s born kids. And it doesn't mean that these things aren't interchangeable and that you don't have symptoms here and symptoms there, because some people may have incarnated a little bit later. I believe I tried to incarnate in here in 1969, 6 years before I was born, but it didn't work. So I was born in 1975, born cesarean, almost died. I'm an only child. My mom wasn't able to have any more children after we were born. And I don't really feel like I was fully incarnated here until I was 6 years old. And there's a lot of reasons for that I could get into on another show. But one thing I wanted to talk about, and if Raquel, you wanted to touch on that if you're here, we had talked about the walk-ins on one show. And did you have any more thoughts on that as far as that goes? Because it got me thinking about it when we were talking about how you can remember what your life was like, but you don't feel any of those emotions, whether they were good or bad times.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like I didn't know what was happening at the time, and I saw someone ask questions about a walk-in and thinking, and I don't know what a braid soul is, or a soul braid. I've never heard of that before. But the process for me was I guess obviously my soul knew what it was doing. I had no idea. I didn't know what an awakening was. I didn't know any of this stuff, and so I just figured I was dying, and I went through the physical death process. But I guess because I didn't know what was going on, I made I was okay with the fact that I was dying. It's like, okay, and so I managed to write a bunch of stuff out. Did what I needed to do, say goodbye and stuff, because I was preparing to die. So I went through that, and then was in a cocoon for 3 days, and then when I emerged, I was nothing like the me that I used to be. Everything changed, and then it was a major adjustment period as far as learning how to live down here again. It took probably 8 months. Probably just in the last 2 months, I've been actually being able to function down here. But for that long, I'm just like a child, and it's been a process of two aspects of me, and I thought maybe it was lower self, encouraging and nurturing higher self, or higher self encouraging and nurturing lower self, but I think it might be the opposite now, because there's been many times, and it still happens, where I'll be going through the physical, just extreme, and I'll be in so much pain, and it's not my thinking, but all of a sudden I'll just say, thank you, oh, thank you, and it's like, shut up, right? Like, but what the hell, right? And then I'll hear a voice in my head, and not a voice. Well, anyway, I'll hear the words. I'll hear a beautiful voice saying, "Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. You're so strong. Like, I'm so proud of you." And so I don't know exactly what that is. I guess that's higher self. It could be a combination of higher self and my guides. And lower self, but that's and I don't think that it's two souls existing in me, because I feel very strongly that my soul was a very old soul, and that's gone. I'm a total new soul now, so I don't know. I'm still kind of figuring out the process, but that's kind of what the process is. And even now, I'll lie down and be in pain, and I'll hear this very comforting voice, and it's nurturing me, and it's giving me the love. I've learned to love myself, but so in a way, I'm my own child and my own parent through this rebirthing or this soul swap process or whatever. I've been, it's been a parent and child kind of. That's what it's like, and that's what it's still like. There's that one part that has brought me up and has been nurturing me through this past year, right? So it's the best way I can describe it, because I don't know, I've never researched any other cases or anything, so because I want to keep all my experiences, right? So maybe in time I'll look into it and research, another case or something, but right now I'm just figuring it all out.
Just putting the puzzle together right now, exactly. I think that's what we're all doing.
Yeah.
We hear something on a thought, a notion, and then we tune it, and then later on we hear something, and that it makes that click. And I just think it's a really great thing. And to shift gears a little bit, I wanted to talk to Victoria a little bit about this, because I don't remember my life on the Pleiades too much. I just remember a little bit on a mothership, and Victoria is one of the most people that I've ever talked to that actually remembers her life on the Pleiades. And Victoria, why don't you tell everybody out there, the listeners, a little bit about what you experienced and what you can remember about life back there, and what the environment was like, what it looked like, how day-to-day life was back there. Kind of shed some light on that for us.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Larry. Thank you, Raquel, as well. Well, really, it's a lot of my memory. I'd say about 60–70% of my memory I remember being in the Pleiades. But of course, it's very heartbreaking as well, because before I actually came to the Pleiades, which I'll touch on very quickly, I'm actually from Nihal. And it's something that's not really, you don't really see much on the internet, and believe me, I've tried. It's very difficult, because I got the spelling right and everything. And Nihal are from the Orphan, and they're basically like an indigo elder race. We're the elder races, apparently. And my soul resonated with the Pleiades and the Pleiadians, even though the Pleiadians aren't really originally called the Pleiadians. If that makes sense. So really, I remember a lot of my life. I remember some of the times I was on the ship, but most of the time I was actually in my kingdom. I call it the kingdom, but I suppose many people have different names for it. And one of the things I remember before I came to Earth, and I still have this memory more strongly than the others, is physically waving off my family. And I remember the feelings in my heart. It was just probably the worst time, but it was also I think the most exciting time, because seeing my family, and I don't mean like everyone as family, I mean literally my relatives there, waving off is probably the most emotional thing I could have experienced, because it's not like it is here. It's different up there because they don't want you to go. But at the same time, it was part of my calling. I remember hearing a voice from Earth, and I remember hearing so many cries, and I remember it wasn't the voices of many people, it was the voices of one. And I remember hearing that voice, and I thought, I really have to help. But I was actually advised, and I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this, I was actually strongly advised not to come to Earth originally, because it was quite complicated. I wasn't really meant to be on Earth originally, but my persistence and I was very adamant, and I said, I really have to go, I really need to go. It was something that was in me that I had to go. But I love the buildings and the structures in the Pleiades. I remember it was like cities illuminated with lots of light, but at the same time, when you step outside the globes of the homes and places where various Pleiadians do live, I remember just seeing lots of dark water and dark hills, and it was kind of glow, a sort of lilac-y kind of glow to the atmosphere. And it's just something that it's not so easy to explain in 3D kind of way. It's really difficult to explain because I see my home more visually, and it was the experience of just being there and connecting. But a lot of my family, they kind of vary from pale blue skin. In my form, I have blue skin, and depending on which part of the Pleiades, I'm actually from Electra. So I know I've connected with a couple of Pleiadians from Electra as well, and I just remember, various bits will come to me stronger than others. Like, being on the ship. I remember being on the ship for a long time as well with the Lyrians, and I believe for a long time it was like, as you would have like refugees, for example. You'd be in a small sort of compartment for a long time, and you'd be traveling for a long period of time. And a lot of this information came from my memories, but obviously I had like regression as well. And if you are lucky to have that chance to have regression, I'd strongly recommend it. But a lot of the time I was actually put with Lyrian beings, and I resonate very, very, very closely with them as well. But for me, it was like flashbacks, really quite strong. I mean, seeing, I don't know, it depends what kind of questions you want to ask, but as far as I remember, it was just very ongoing, and it was a long time, and I feel like my soul's very, very, very old.
Yeah, the one
yeah.
right, to hit you with a question a little bit, and I was thinking about this yesterday too, like some of the dreams I had before I was 6 years old that I stopped having at 6. I remember being on planets that looked a lot like Earth, but okay, some the skyline would be yellow, some they'd be orange, some green. It's like every spectrum of the rainbow like that, right? And then also these amethyst like type buildings. And what you said about the glow in the cities itself is so bright that it's almost, unless you're up to that low vibration, it's really hard to handle it at a great deal. And what you said about getting outside of their cities and going and seeing the darkness, but yet the glow from the lilacs and things like that, it really resonated with me, that thought I had. And I just wanted to kind of ask you that. Do you remember what the skylines might have looked like or things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, I know from, I mean, depending on the different types of Pleiadians as well. I can only really speak from Electra, I suppose, but I have a feeling that I have been around the whole of Pleiades. As for the skyline, it felt like every time I try and meditate, even now in this 3D form, that I keep connecting back and also realizing and remembering that there was a landscape I keep seeing, and it's very dark. It's like a very dark, it varies from really dark purple to like a nice kind of navy blue, but it's essentially it's lilac, but there's like a hue of that all the way around the waters, because I remember seeing the waters, they were always very dark, and I think maybe obviously because it's it is kind of out there. It's kind of far out there, literally. There really isn't any light. The only light that is present is actually contained within the cities themselves, and they'd be like globes, you know, attached to one to the other. And I remember teaching. I was a teacher back in the Pleiades as a tall being, a very tall blue being. And I just remember the clothes, it wasn't really having clothes, it was more etheric material. Because some Pleiadians had bodies and some didn't. It just depends, because we had lots of visitors from other star systems there as well. So really, a lot of the time was it was actually my consciousness that was existing within that, I suppose, star system more than anything. And sometimes it's like, even now, I have the consciousness to just connect. You know, whether it's closing my eyes or not, as the matter may be, I just can connect. I just can connect just like that. And I think, you know, for some people it may take a long time or not. I mean, everyone's different. So again, it's not a comparison. It's just that's how it is for some people, and that's how it is for me. It's really remembering that everything is like my eyesight. Even now, it can only really adapt to like darker kind of environments. And I think because I was put in this this body very, very quickly, obviously maybe that's part of it, and various other things, but I just remember that the skyline was very, very dark, and then again it can contrast. It can be like really, really lilac, you know, really bright. So it's, yeah, just a slight variation, I think, there, Larry, just slight.
Wow, that's interesting. That's fascinating you would say that, because my eyes have trouble adjusting as well, and I like a more darker, mellow mood in my eyes, and I think it was because of being in that star system, and the false light really just messed with my eyes. A lot of halogen light and things like that. Although I found, though, since getting stronger through this awakening and on Sundays, that it doesn't really bother my eyes so much anymore. So, that's just personally from my experience, and you know, take it or leave it for what it's worth. But yeah, no, I appreciate hearing that story very much. It's nice to kind of get it described that way. It really resonates immediately when you connect with other people, and you hear something that sparks that in your mind. But, yeah, no, I totally agree. Good stuff for sure. Good stuff. You know.
Yeah, well, it's just something at the moment. I mean, as obviously I do art, you know, and I've always been an artist all my life and a healer, and I feel like a lot of the times now I'm just remembering these places and I'm trying to recreate them and paint them, but they do bring a lot of emotional. They bring a lot of emotion to me, and I feel that sometimes, you know, when you're creating anything, whether that's drawing, painting, making anything, I think the whole purpose of being from a star system or from the divine itself, the source, is so we can anchor our energy here and really activate it for one another. Whether it's, for me, it's with my art, it's healing, but obviously I do healing as well with my hands on, and I just feel like if we were to really anchor and realize, you know, have that realization more so than thinking, oh, well, I'm from there, and just bring the energies down, really, you know, really bring the energy down into your body and use that energy to work on others and you know, on the physical level, 3D level. I think, you know, so much more can be achieved than just, you know, people talking about it. I think really get to that level of just really doing it. I mean, I know a lot of people are doing that, but it's just, I think a lot of people are just very caught up, and which is not a wrong thing. It's just where they are, isn't it, with where they have to start from. And I think if we can encourage each other a lot more on a bigger, you know, scale, I think more people just use their abilities, whether it's clairvoyance, art, drawing, painting, music, working with animals. I think, you know, I think we can really start to heal ourselves, really inside and out, more than anything, you know, as well as each other.
Sorry, I had a little bit of a technical difficulty issue there. But yeah, I totally agree. And it's like sometimes these artistic forms come through with us. I know, like Raquel, with your camera, the pictures, like all of a sudden you started taking all these great pictures, and and you just, it kind of turns us into some people that have never been able to draw before. All of a sudden become great artists or great photographers, and these are things that are just all a part of the process. Raquel, are you still there? Raquel in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah, I'm still here. I've been having this whole time, I've been having a real hard time. Your voice is not really coming through very well at all. I can't hear you very well, so I've been missing a lot. I can hear Victoria perfect, but I can't hear you very well, so I have no idea what you just said.
No, I was talking about, she was mentioning her art, painting, and trying to remember and doing paintings, and it kind of brings it back to her. And like all of a sudden, like, I was just kind of trying to tie that in with the fact that all of a sudden you took all these great pictures and had all these photography skills, and
Yeah,
these art.
I never used to take pictures. Like, I never used to take pictures, but in the beginning of my process, that was just part of my I was compelled, like something would just tell me, okay, and I'd never know where I was going to end up or what I was going to take pictures of. I would just always listen, and sometimes it would be a pain in the ass because I, maybe we just went out shopping and got home and, put my pajamas on or sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden it's like, shit, I get up, I find myself getting up, putting my shoes on. Mom's like, where are you going? Outside to take pictures, of course, and excuse me. And now, and it was just taking it with my tablet, but the most amazing things, I'd capture, and then I got, my camera. It's just a Sony. It's not the greatest, but it was definitely a step up from the tablet. And yeah, I'm amazed because I've got an awesome eye for photography, not just for like the orbs and stuff like that, but for just wildlife, nature, like it's just absolute passion of mine now. I mean, before, I was compelled, and it was kind of like, oh God, like what's going on here? Now it's like I'm just absolutely loving it. I'm just absolutely loving it. It's amazing.
Wow.
But I mean, we definitely, like, I've always been creative as far as singing, writing, poetry, crafts, I'm making, working with beads and, crafts and stuff. But I think a lot of us are, if we weren't, overly creative or whatever in the past, I think a lot of us are getting back to that now because that is definitely a huge, huge part of our spirit, right? That's how our spirit expresses, and it's through creating everything, but also through creating music and and paintings and drawings, and that's something that is unique to every individual. But that's what that all that stuff comes from your soul, right? Like it comes from your soul. So it only makes sense that when we're awakening and we're connecting more and more to higher self, then that creativity, whether we were overly creative in the past or not, is going to come up, and that's a beautiful thing, because many people are either finding new passions and thinking, oh my God, look, I can paint now and I never could before, or draw, or or whatever. So yeah, that's awesome. I think a lot of us are experiencing that. Everybody's so into art. I mean, art speaks, right? So
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's fantastic. I mean, you've seen people just really, having a good, even if they're not really artistic, but to me, there's no right or wrong about any expression of art. Is a divine expression. It's your soul is meant to celebrate in any way it possibly can, and I think it's brilliant. The more people are coming together and they're going, you know what, I have a vision and I'm going to paint it, or I have an idea, I want to be an inventor, I want to create. I mean, we are co-creators, we are divine co-creators, and I think it's just in our nature, our very own nature, that we have the possibilities, we have the skills, we have the technology, and we can go further, we can explore further, and get more people involved and go, you know what, I've got a bigger idea, I think we should all do this together. And I think on a mass scale, I think we will be creating many things. I mean, maybe we create a new whole planet together. I mean, it's possible. Maybe if we don't do it in our physical bodies, we can do it in our astral bodies. I know that a lot of the time when I've been dreaming, I've been going up to astral for the past 4 or 5 years. I've been actually helping various extraterrestrial races, those of the light, and creating parts of planets. I wouldn't say the entire planet, but parts of the planet, whether it's making and producing seeds, plantation, any kind of thing, let's say, for example. And it's very hard because it's going back and forth and nurturing, and some plants don't grow, some things don't harvest, but essentially it's all about just going with it and just, okay, I want to do this. It's all about having the seed, having the idea, the seed, of producing it, and obviously going ahead. I mean, there's nothing to really stop anyone doing whatever you want. Do what your soul sings to you. Do every morning. Just do something that, really excites you, makes you happy, and makes you joyful. That's why we're here. And of course, that raises the vibration. And of course, who wouldn't want that? It's who we are.
Oh, my dog barks in the background. No, it's really intriguing, and we get these blasts of consciousness come through us. And really what it is we're just remembering, like we're on again, that'll work, but we're not here to learn anything new. We're here to remember what we've always known and to stand in our power and to just be creative. And it just comes like blasts of consciousness, and I think it's really exciting how it happens. It's not something that you have to study for 5 hours a day for 20 years to get. It's coming through consciousness. And it's just amazing, and it's showing up, like Raquel said, it shows up in music, it shows up in artwork, drawing, it shows up in just any kind of creativity, a thought. Even a thought to create a new group, or a thought to create a new page, or a thought just to do something different that you never would have thought about, and then it just comes to you, and then boom, you're right into doing it, and I just think that part of it's amazing.
And the goddess dance is pretty cool too. It is. My body. It's so bizarre because I've never been well, I guess, no, I've never really been a very coordinated or graceful kind of person, but since this process started, I've been doing, and Janice, she knows too, because she does it too, but I've just been, I've learned to step out of the way and let my body do what it wants to do, and oh gosh, it's been absolutely bizarre, but these hand movements, these hand positionings and these hand movements, it's almost like my body is being moved by something other than me, and it's effortless. It's totally effortless. I don't even think about it. I just let my body go, and I don't really, mainly it's sitting down and doing it, doing the hand movements and stuff, but it's incredible. Like I have to me it feels like an ancient dance from somewhere, like a goddess dance. That's the only way I can describe it. So I'm kind of actually eager to maybe get out and explore that a bit more. Maybe, I don't know, sign up for some sort of dance class that just all of a sudden burst out my own goddess dance. Maybe I'll start a trend. I don't know. Maybe I'll teach people how to do it. It's cool. It's really awesome.
You never know, Raquel. I mean, maybe that's your inner spirit just saying, I just want to go with it, go with the flow. And I think, when you were talking about your ascension symptoms, maybe it will help as well, obviously. I mean, it's only something that you've always known from your, your ancient spirit, and all you're doing is recreating in this world and this lifetime now. And I think, maybe you'll inspire others as well. Maybe just the ascension symptom dance. Maybe it'll help. I don't know. You never know, do you? Let's all get all the starseeds together and start doing our ascension symptom dance. I mean, might just catch on. It might just.
I know that with the physical changes, like my bones have changed so much. It feels like I'm wearing a corset. My ribs and stuff have changed. Like they've really, the density of my bones have changed. My ribs have totally changed. So that's the only way I can describe it, is it feels like I'm wearing a corset. It's really cool. But I've had to like just listen to my body and move. And there was towards the beginning, for the first couple months, I would just sit here and I'd aggressively, like I'd have muscles that I didn't even know I had between my shoulder blades and just a little bit lower, and it would shake and shake and shake in the weirdest way, almost like there was wings there. And so just within like a couple months, the muscles I developed on my arms are just, wow, just harsh. But you have to allow your body. I think that's a lot of people with the Ascension symptoms and stuff. They're not fully learned. They haven't fully learned to step aside and allow their body to move as it wants to, because they're still kind of stuck in their mind thinking, oh my God, why am I moving? Okay, no, I don't want to, and there is like what you said, Victoria, about not resisting it, right? Like just to with it. But in order for your your body to make the structural changes it needs, the bone changes and stuff it needs, even the changes to the skull and the jaw and stuff, you just have to go with it, because if you don't allow your body to move, when it wants to, then you're going to experience a lot of pain, and it's not going to it's not going to go smoothly. Because I know with me, with all the bone changes, I can't just sit here and I can't just sit here. It's not even an option. It's so painful. So as soon as I put on music, especially I'll put on music, my body just moves. I don't even think about it. Sometimes it's shaking aggressively. Other times, it's stretching. It almost feels like me and Janice say we've got our cosmic, our galactic chiropractor, because we'll sit, it'll be sitting here, and all of a sudden, it's almost like it'll be a crack, 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 crack of my spine, right? And it's like everything's being all aligned. But yeah, it's really, you have to listen to your body. You have to move. You have to totally listen to your body. Move when you have to move. Eat when you when you want. What what you need, right? But in order, for the changes to take place, you have to just you have to trust and just remember that it's a natural process. I mean, we've done this before, almost, right? When we were little kids, we grew up, right? Our bodies morphed, our bodies changed, right? So basically, we're doing that again. We're going through that again. Our bodies are totally changing into what? Who knows? But but I mean, it's just like just when we were kids and our bodies were growing and changing, we just it just was what it was. We still went to school. We still played. We still ate. We still had little temper tantrums. We still and we had fun being a kid. And so this is kind of the same thing, right? Like, you just do what you love, have fun, do what you're passionate about, create, put on music, take good care of your body, and just listen to your body, because it's all built in. Everything's all built in, and just allow yourself to be guided, and don't get freaked out. Just allow yourself to be guided, and I mean, we're not going through this totally, not like, we're not going through this with no knowledge. All the knowledge is in there. You just have to get out of the logical mind and allow that deeper knowledge from your soul to guide you.
Absolutely, I have to agree with that. Definitely, Raquel. I mean, we are, multi-dimensional creative forces, and I think just allowing that energy to flow through us and produce and create and just go with it, I think that's really the only way forward, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can alleviate so many things, so many problems, and create so many solutions from just being creative minds that we are, and not to live in our physical brains, but to live away from it and live in our our hearts, open and see with our hearts, and physically see with our eyes, but not our physical eyes, see with our heart eyes. And I think that's one thing is everything that comes from that is always love. Love. Everything is love. So, yeah.
Still there, Larry? Oh, did we lose Larry?
No, we didn't lose Larry. Larry was deep into thought.
Loony Larry?
Loony Larry, the Loonster, Larry Legend, Rocken Locken, Larry Liches. Okay, so one of the other things that I know Victoria was wanting to talk about, and used to not be one of my favorite subjects, and I know it hasn't been always one of Raquel's favorite subjects, but I know that Victoria, you wanted to touch a little bit before we ended the show. Before we start getting into wrapping up the show, you had something you wanted to say about the twin flame issue.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of us, and I'm sure some of the viewers as well as ourselves. I know that, Larry and Sif, you are twin flames, and I have my twin flame, my lovely Luke. Um, and I feel that at the moment, we are. The reason why so many twin flames are coming together now is because we are being called into service. And I'm still learning a lot more about the whole process of twin flames. And I think I was given a question the other day. Somebody said, "Oh, can a twin flame, they have more than one twin flame?" I said, "No, because really we only have it's one soul essentially, but it's you are the other half, but you are individuals, but you are you have that unity. You share the same soul identity together, but you'll have many soulmates." And I feel that a lot of people are touching on this subject a lot more because they're still trying to understand it, and I think it's something that we really should really just look into a bit more, and maybe explore it a lot more as well, because a lot of people think, "Oh, well, can they be a twin flame? Are we a twin flame?" And I suppose you only really know, and I know this because of my experience with my partner, is before we'd even met, it's not so much as it's a deep soul connection, and what becomes of that is obviously before the attraction, before any of that, you have a deep knowing for each other, and you'll have that a really strong connection. And it's not just essentially just romantic, it's a divine connection, but essentially it's a mixture of romantic as well. And I feel that a lot more are coming together in service, and obviously you need that balance, the divine feminine and masculine energies, to complete your work on earth. Whether you're a dream master, whether you work in different astral realms, or whether you come here on earth to create, it's all about remembrance at the end of the day, and it's also about connection and divine connection and the soul connection. And I think together, when you have the unity and you do come into remembrance and you do find your twin flame, it is one of the most blessed things you could ever have in your life, I feel. I don't know how you agree with that, Larry. But
Yeah, I definitely agree with it. And also, Raquel and I have touched on this in another show, and I think she had mentioned that, what, she's in a situation now where she's happy working on these things by herself, and that, if at some point down the road, her twin, that connection with her soulmate twin flame comes along, and then she'll address it at that point. But Raquel, I know, you're kind of in a situation right now where you're happy doing your thing alone, and but you're not alone. You've got a big support system around you. But as far as not having like an Earth 3D twin flame partner with you, you're not. It doesn't really disappoint you. But how do you feel about that? Do you just, you still feel like, okay, well, if it happens, it happens, and when it does, and that's just kind of part of the process. How do you feel being a person going stag to do cosmic date?
Well, I think this is a solo mission for me. I think that if I do have a twin flame, I don't think it's incarnated on this earth. That's how I don't know. That's just kind of how I've always felt. But who knows? Who knows, right? I don't know. I'm not concerned about it. I don't even really I don't think about it. I'm just doing my thing, and it's been one hell of a process. I mean, it's been beautiful, but it's been extremely intense, and I don't. Yeah, it doesn't even really cross my mind. Yeah, I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah, it's like that, and it'll happen like it's the most spontaneous. If you do run across your twin flame on this existence, you'll be at I don't know, a bookstore on a Sunday at 2 o'clock. You'll drop a book and run into somebody you have no, but yeah, it'll just be something that happens, and then that'll be a bridge that you cross when you get there exactly. And I mean, and the thing about it is, people have a lot of free twin flames, so they think, "Oh, God, this is the one, this is the one, this is the one." But you really know it when it's the one, and it's just one of them things that you've got to take as it comes, and that's pretty much kind of how I feel on the subject. It's an exciting subject, but yet wasn't always one of my favorite subjects to discuss discuss, because some people again are caught up in the term, or they're caught up in the same, the twin flame, just like they'd be caught up in the same, the indigo children, or caught up in I'm a Pleiadian or series. They get caught up in the label, but once you get full of that feeling with somebody like that, there's no label that can describe it unless you're just trying to have a 3D conversation.
Well, I see. I've seen so many people out there saying, "Oh, well, I'm just not complete without my other half. I need to find my twin. Are you my twin?" But it's kind of like that's not what it's all about. Like that's what people are still thinking. Like I need, I feel so lonely and so incomplete. I need to find my twin flame to complete me. And it's kind of like, you know what? No, you need to figure this. You need to go through this. You need to go through this process of fully embracing, falling in love with yourself, embracing yourself, remembering your divinity, remembering, that you are love, and everything else after that. Then hey, great. If you do find someone that you believe is your other half or whatever, then fine. But then also another thing I've seen is seen quite a few people announce that they found their twin flame, and and then a couple months down the road or whatever, they're not with the people and they're not with the person anymore. So I think that that's a pretty big thing. Like if you're going to announce to people that you found your twin flame, then you would know. You would know without a shadow of a doubt if the twin flames do exist, and I'm sure they do. You would know for sure. You would know. And so I don't think that there would be any kind of problems after that, as far as a couple months down the road. Oh well, no, I'm not with my twin flame anymore. Well then, so that's kind of the trap I think a lot of people get into. They want so badly to find a person. They find that person. They believe there's something that they're not. They announce it, and then a couple months later, that kind of makes the whole twin flame thing just kind of look like a big joke to me sometimes.
I have to admit, Raquel, you touched on a few things there. One that I was going to say as well is definitely always, fall in love with yourself, get to know thyself, and really embrace that. I mean, there's no good in finding love if you can't find love with yourself. It's the most essential thing. And obviously, with me, I just accepted myself. I love myself, and as all viewers listening as well, I'm sure that to some degree, whether they have got to that stage or not, it's the most essential part of being. I mean, at the end of the day, we are all divine beings, but to find love with ourselves before we find love with another person, and to really work on thyself as well. I mean, that's another thing. A lot of twin flames do come with baggage, and some don't, but it's all about working that through together, because that's really important. I mean, I don't really want to get hung up on the names and the labels, but for the purpose of recognizing what it is, you'll know it's right when it just comes along. I mean, I never worried about it. I never even thought about it, to be honest, but it just comes along. It just happens. But for some people, it's a solo mission because they're either not ready or they just choose not to. I mean, and obviously, Raquel, or many others as well, if you feel that maybe your twin or your other half, or whatever people want to call it, they can be multidimensional and not really even exist on this plane or this planet, for example. So it's just like it is what it is, and you just have to as long as obviously people are comfortable with themselves. I mean, that's the main thing. Just really work on yourself and just really embrace that love that you have for yourself, because it is one of the things that keeps us going, isn't it?
Yeah, and also it's also good to keep in mind too that excuse me, that people are under the assumption that they're looking for their twin flame so that they're completed, so they feel completed. I think that's a big misconception, because I don't think that that's the way twin flames are. I don't know too much about them, but I know that if you're looking for someone to complete you, then you're not ready. Your twin flame is not going to come into your life, because that's not what it's about, right? So, yeah.
I'm in total agreement with you. I mean, that's the thing. When you're both ready on both sides of your life, You will just come together like magnets. There's no anything stopping you. It just is. I mean, when you're ready, you're ready. It just happens. There is no written book or anything written down to really. Although people do actually write books about this, but we're not going about that. We're not talking about that. But you just go with what's in your heart, and you know it's a true knowing. It's a knowing that you think, aha, you know. And you recognize parts of your soul fragment within another, and it's just really mirroring and recognizing that, and just fall in love with yourself all over again and again and again every single day. It's just there's no stopping it really. It's when you're ready, you're ready.
And also, I don't think that twin flame is something that you search for. Like,
exactly.
You don't go out searching for a twin flame, right? Looking for a twin flame. You guys, you'll come together. Like you said, you'll find each other. You'll come together when you're both ready, right? So, yeah. So stop the searching for your goddamn twin flames. Focus on yourself. They're gonna come into your life, people.
Raquel Toombs, for somebody who says she doesn't know much about twin flames, you just described it's taken me about an hour to articulate. No, it's really true, because you see it time and time again where they're looking for something outside themselves. And I've even had private advice, and I have to scratch my head for a second and make sure I'm not waiting for a punchline to a joke. Because, well, this guy says, or this girl says I should do this, or should do this. Oh, this is my twin flame, and it's like, okay, man, I'm gonna have to hunker down to give you some advice on this. You're so right, because you'll know it's a magnet. It just comes together, right? It comes together, and your actions reflect that you're together. It'll show. It's not like you get this couple that are, they're lovey-dovey, like even in high school, like a high school people. Holds forever. Well, and then as you've gotten older, okay, so maybe it's a few months, and then it's done with, and they're more in love with that idea than they are of that attraction coming together like that. And you've got to totally be at peace with yourself. And I know, with knowing Victoria the short time I have, that I wouldn't have saw you, Victoria, as somebody that really, seriously, you're right, it just happened between you and Luke. It wasn't something you were out looking for at a disco in London every Saturday night, looking for your twin, looking for Mr. Big Bar, as we call it here. It just happened, right? It's not like, and like Victoria, one thing I would ask you too is, like, without getting personal, like in your past, you probably had relationships like we all have, and and you think, okay, well, this is the one. This is the one, right? But you're it's helping. And then when it's different, and you can feel it, but it's got to be that different case and that magnet coming together, like Raquel said. It's just a magnetic thing. There you are. There it is. There it is. It's not, okay, well, I got to talk myself into any part of this, right?
Yeah, it's magnetism, and it's even more than that. It's a divine pulling of the souls together. It's like you've unzipped yourself in one lifetime, and then when you finally come together, it's like you're putting one big zip as a connection together. But equally, you are individuals. That's what I really want to stress. We're individuals, but you share the same soul essence. And together, that's how I really see it. I mean, it's when people say, "Oh, I can't," I'm looking for my twin flames. Like, that's never been the case for me. It's like it just happened, and I just accepted it, because I remember my guides. I remember my guides actually saying to me at one point, and I actually shook my head to my guides and said, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?" sort of thing. Like, and they said, he's here, and I said, well, where? What, is he a multidimensional being? I mean, we all are to some degree, but it was a case of like, aha, he's here. And I'm like, well, I've been asking for you, I've been asking that, if there's anything you need to tell me, tell me. And obviously I was very surprised. I was like, wow, okay, what do I do from here then? And I just went along. Everything was just natural. There was no force. There was, when two souls are meant to be together, they will be together, regardless.
Well, and also I believe that your twin flame is in you all along, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not something you go out looking for. You're in each other all along, and I think that's also when you do meet them, and you know, you recognize that right away, right? So I don't know. I would just advise everyone that's searching, going out searching for their twin flames, just to chill, just chill, homies. They'll come to you.
Yeah, the magnet will reach, and you know, guys, just to kind of touch on that a little bit, I think the two, like star beings, like us, you know, whatever we are, we're very sexual beings, but on the other hand, at the ascended or at the mind level kind of we're at now, and I think I'm pretty confident that you can vouch for this, but you would only want to engage in something like that with somebody at this point that really was that one and only that you bumped into.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
And when it comes, yeah, and if you did meet that person, okay, yes, I mean, all bets are off, the curtains are closed, things can get down and dirty, but short of that, I don't think that I don't think that we're going out looking for that kind of thing because it's an empty, hollow feeling. And I think that, I can speak for me and probably you can too. You wouldn't even want to go there with somebody unless it was on that deep of a level, that connection. Because
No,
there's no,
we've gone past that. We've gone past that. I mean, and at least the people, you know, most, well, I hope, well, most people anyway on this journey realize that casual sex and hookups, I used to be really promiscuous, and there's no way, like, there's just absolutely no way. I mean, sex, that's your energy. That's information. That's, you don't want to, you know, no, that's just, it's just it's part of life that is no more, right? If it's not a soul connection, you know, then why bother? I think we've passed, you know, we totally passed that, because we see, I like, at least I, you know, I see sex now as something that bonds two souls. It's not just a physical act, and there's no way I could just do a physical act anymore.
yeah, Victoria, let's put you on the hot seat. What say you about that?
Well, I think for me and my twin flame, um, just even not even literally being next to each other, say for example on Skype or something, we would literally feel each other, we'd feel each other's energy. We even say the same things, or telepathically think the same thing, and it's all about really reaching and connecting, again, not outside of yourself, but really connecting within. And I think when you get to that level with your partner as well, and you feel, because you are the same person, the same, being, it really, like I said from the beginning, it's a really deep soul connection, and there is nothing like anything you'll ever experience, because you really truly love who you are as a being, as an individual, as a part of creation, as a part of the divine spark. And when we're all together, we are essentially all prime creator. Each and every individual, we are all prime creator all together. No matter what our lives have been like, what we've done, what we've passed, makes no difference. But with the twin flame, or I like to actually really, I'd like to change that. I'd like to call it twin heart, to be honest with you, because it it really is that beat in the heart that really connects on a really deep soul level. It really is one of the most unique feelings. I know it's kind of unusual if you do meet your physical twin flame in this lifetime, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible in the next lifetime, and so forth, or whatever the case may be. It's just that deep connection where you can feel each other from a distance, and you can. It's like my twin flame knows exactly how I'm feeling, even if I never speak to him all day, for example. He knows how I'm feeling. He knows what I'm going through, and vice versa. I know how his energy is, and I know what he's feeling. If he's eaten, if he knows I've eaten or not, we're so in tune that there is nothing that can really beat that. And it's nothing like a relationship that you might have had before in the past. It's completely unique, and it's still about finding each other, still discovering things, but essentially, really, that's how it is for me. That's what I feel.
Yeah, totally. Because in a relationship like that, I mean, like Raquel said, we're past that point as far as the hookup, anything like that, right? I mean, because that kind of an urge, okay, we don't need to get into the descriptiveness of it. But these are all urges. Okay, whatever. If we had them, we could take care of on our own, right? And it's just like an urge, like going to the bathroom. But when you finally connect with a twin flame, that feeling, even like if you're over Skype, if you're over Gmail, if you're being intimate with each other, whatever, I'm not even going there, but whatever, the feeling that can pulsate through your body, right, is like nothing that a physical hookup call, booty call could give you. So it's like that. So short of finding that, right, like because there's no reason. Okay, it would be almost like at this point with asking somebody to come in and help you go to the bathroom or something. I mean, it's just not. It's just not worth it, and it's not. Well, it's not even not worth it. It's not even something I want to do because it's not something. I mean, why? I mean, you know what I mean? There's no reason for it. I mean, you can either take care of yourself at home or go out and risk all the drama and bullshit that includes it. So it's just one of them things where if it's not the right feeling, if it's not the right situation, you know what I mean? We're gonna take our ball and go home with it. You know, that's how it is.
Oh, I think it's about nurturing the soul as well. I mean, if you're obviously nurturing your soul, you're nurturing your partner's soul, and I think there's a lot of it's more than respect. It's like you know how far you are with your limits, and your partner does as well. And I think with the twin hearts, twin heart, it's like that. I mean, there is nothing else like it ever, and it's a one in a lifetime experience. I feel a bit different from soulmates, obviously. I mean, I don't really have soulmates, but I have soulmates. But that's not to say soulmates are not romantic. They can, but it's kind of a bit unusual. Usually mother-daughter kind of thing. But you know, depends on different relationships. Obviously, father-son, sister-daughter. But I do feel that it is a really unique relationship because it's really your unique relationship with God, essentially, and really, really to remember who you are and to continue with the work and your mission on Earth, whatever your mission may be, and just to really embrace that because it's really, very important at this point in our lives that we really have to really understand realization and remember who we are and what we are and why we came here and how we're going to change things for the better. I mean, really, that's essentially why we're here, out of love, because of all.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? I wanted to touch on this because I think it needs to go. It can't go unsaid that you give your energies out there, and Raquel touched on this a little bit, and Barbara Marciniak again, to quote her in Bringers of Dawn touches on this greatly, that you're giving your energies out there when you mix with somebody. If you were just, going out for a one night stand, and that's what got into all these problems that we had. Is like when I was younger, I'm almost 40 now. I've probably had 4 or 5 partners since I was 20, but from 14 to 20, I had probably a total of 60 one night stands growing up in the neighborhood and in the situation I did, but it was so hollow. Even that young age, the horny teenager, it just felt so hollow. All those experiences, and you give all your energies out, and not only that, you're mixing your energy with that person, and you're getting all the energy from everybody that they've been intimate with. So, and especially if you're not aware of that, it can create a lot of problems and baggage. And it's just a crazy situation where you really have to really watch who you give your energies out like that. I mean, forget about the sexual part. Think about just any relationship. Maybe all of us have had a broken heart in our lifetimes here and there, and it just led to a big letdown, because we were looking for something in that person that we needed to fix in ourselves first, if that makes sense. And it just, it feels good to be beyond that at that point. It's just great not to have to think about that and not, okay, well, I've got to do this. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's amazing. I'm starting to ramble here, but yeah, I know. It's pretty amazing. I know. The 3 of us mix all our energies together now, and we're gonna all fall asleep. Especially Victoria. God, it must be the butt crack of dawn, girl, where you're at.
It's only, what, after 5 a.m.? Don't worry about it.
Oh dear.
Yeah, Raquel and I are a little bit older though, and we're asleep before the Letterman's on, if you know that. Anyway, but yeah, I agree. And just and it's just I I remember getting so much flack from my friends that I ran around with as a teenager because they thought it was all cool and fun, and I did it too. I was no angel, but it was just always this hollow feeling at the end of the day, and looking for something in somebody that just wasn't there because you hadn't fixed that within yourself yet, or come to that realization. And
Yeah, and I think in time, obviously, Larry, you obviously came to that point when you found the love within yourself. So you can go forth and you can find the love and mirror that love back and have that mirror, But I think obviously you delved quite deep into yourself to find that love. And I think it's very hard for people to get to that point, and they're still stuck, in the matrix, still trying to find that love outside themselves, trying to, every opportunity, every Saturday night, go out and find. I mean, I'm not one to judge, but this is an observation, and it's a reality that some people do this, and not everyone has a life they can, say, oh, I'm proud of this or I'm proud of that or not. It's just, that's how it is. It's part of the experience. And when you mingle with your body and you're intimate with many partners or no partners, for example, the energetic exchange will have its effects on you. And obviously people have got to come to realize that that obviously you need to just either go with that or don't. Simply just really protect yourself. And I mean, not just in the physical 3D form. I mean, obviously on a spiritual level, because obviously other people have attachments, they have energetic portals, they have all kinds of dark energies or light energies, depending who you mix with and who they are. So it's really about, and obviously you've got to really clear yourself of all them energetic blockages, and then you're back to square one, and then you think to yourself, well, when you've got to that experience, you've got to go through it all again. And really, really, taking care of the self is really number one, number one priority, I think, at this point, spiritually, I think.
when you say taking care of yourself, oh, you meant spiritually.
Oh, Larry, that's enough.
Okay. I need to be reined in once in a while, I know. Exactly, though. You know what, on that note, ladies, I think that we covered some great ground today, and I will listen to this back again to see if I can be heard. I know I'm using a laptop right here, and I usually use it. I want to thank you both for being on, and thank you, of course, Raquel, as always, and Victoria. It's great to have you on.
Thank
Before
you.
we go, of course, okay, here it comes. Here it comes. Babu, guitar, mabu, baba. No, okay. Yes, so I won't even ask Raquel that, or I'll get that thing banged louder in my head if I ask her where people can find her on the World Wide Web. Of course, it's going to be on her timeline. Raquel.
Oh, not my timeline. No more on my timeline.
Yes, yes, yes. Pleiadian, the Pleiadians, Pac Northwest Pleiadians, yes, yes, and all around the virtual groups. And of course now, Victoria, where in the hell could somebody find Victoria Pleiadian if they wanted to on Facebook?
Ooh, well, you can find me as either Victoria Pleiadian on Facebook and also on the admin, as long as many other beautiful admins along in the Pleiadians UK with my partner Luke Lavelle. And I'm also in Humanity and Ascension as well as an admin there. And pretty much in the big mothership Pleiadian group, Leah's group, Leah Alien Tribes. And yes, just say hi, send a hi to me, and yeah, I'll send a friendly hi back.
Well, if we didn't know you better, that almost sound. Hey, Raquel, that almost sounded rehearsed, didn't it? No, that was
No.
Oh, great.
No.
exactly. No, that sounded really, really good, Victoria. Exactly, and appreciate all the great work that you do there. And of course, we're all admins in Leah Shapiro Alien Tribe, Mothership Group of Pleiadians. The three of us are also admins in the Pleiadian Light Grid Project page, and so on and so on. You can find Raquel Canadian Pleiadian in Pac Northwest. You can find, I think Victoria said where you could find her in Pleiadians UK with the great Luke Laville. Luke. Yes, anyway.
Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about it. About a transgender Victoria, he could be his brother, his sister, his mother, and his wife too. Oh, that's a whole. That's probably for another dimension.
Oh,
But
actually, I better say a shout out to my dad actually, because say hello to my dad. There you go, everyone.
yes,
Hello,
All done
Victoria's
me.
dad.
hello. Can you shout out to mine? Hi, Larry Locken Sr. I know you're too busy watching Fox News and scared of ISIS coming to take us over to watch this, but it's all good. He's getting the point. But yeah, anyway, did either one of you ladies have anything you wanted to say before I go ahead and give my Larry List shout out?
Thank you so much, Victoria. It's been awesome talking to you.
Oh,
I love
thank you.
your voice, and I just love you so much. You're such a beautiful, beautiful soul.
Oh, thank you, Raquel. I have to say the exact same thing. I've had so much fun with you, Raquel, and I've had so much fun with you, Larry, even before we came on. And I said hello to Sif as well, and she's been messaging as well. So it's really, really, truly, really is an honor to be here and speak to you guys, because I think we've had an awesome, an awesome time actually. I just feel really comfortable. We can just yay! It's fun. And now I'm going to go off in my spaceship now, and well, I don't know about that, but it's a wish, isn't it? It's a wish we all want.
Well, big group hug to everybody out there. It's been really great having you two on the show. It's
Awesome.
been full of delight. As always, I'm your delicious MC DJ Rocken Larry Locken. You can find me at the group that the ladies mentioned, or I might have been talking over them and mentioning them. Yeah, see how late in the night it's getting here. But you can find me at the Fringe Thinkers. You can find me at Sun West, and I'd like to send a shout out to Marcel Boyas, Sun West group creator. I'm an admin there, admin in the Fringe Thinkers, admin in, of course, the Great Heroes Pleiadian group. You can find me at all the admin groups and all the Pleiadian regional groups, which there's too many to name. But if you want to know where the hell they are or what they are, go to Pleiadian Index group pages group. Yeah, that made a lot of sense. Okay, we'll just type that in Facebook and you'll find it. And I wanted to wish everybody out there a big cosmic dating game kiss. Mwah.
Wow.
Out of here. We'll see you next time on Pleiadian Talk or Pleiadian Late Night Talk. And we're out.